Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. DraftKings week 1. We're going to talk about my top 10 quarterbacks on the list. Now, these are in some sort of order, but that order can always change. We've had injuries already through the preseason, not a ton, but enough. Guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, who are now out with a broken wrist for at least a month. It changes the landscape, especially for the quarterbacks, because we've talked about this before. Quarterbacks are your way to get to wide receiver stacks. Wide receivers do drive the bus. They do improve the efficiency, and they are the way to get to those high quarterback scores. We want to target guys that we think have an output of possibly 25 to 30 plus DraftKings points when we draft quarterbacks for tournaments. That's what we're going to highlight on this video. I'm going to go through my top 10. Salary is included. Matchup is included. It's early. We'll go through our normal progression of videos during week 1. Our first look videos, our top stacks, the Friday Q&A conversation, as well as 5 under 5 every Saturday. We got a couple of weeks before the kickoff begins, so let's take a look at quarterbacks today. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go!
He's a legend.
It is that time of year, and that means that the Smiz Gang Listener League is posted on DraftKings. Go to smizzle.tv/league. It is also there in the links. Smizzle.tv/links will take you to the link tree, which gives you access to everything that I do. My Instagram, our Twitch stream where I stream multiple times a week during NFL season. I think last year I was live 6 days a week. This year I'm planning to be live 4, maybe 5 days a week. If you wanted to drop by the live stream and say hello, make sure that you get in there, as well as our community Discord. Everything is in the links. Smizzle.tv/links will take you to everything that we do, including the Listener League. Make sure that you get in there. Best tournament on DraftKings. $10, no rake, 3 max. You can enter it 1 a day. If you want to take advantage of your missions, make sure that you do that. Join the Listener League today. It's going to fill. It's probably going to fill early on week 1, so don't get locked out. First quarterback that we're going to talk about today is Justin Herbert, $6,900. Very nice price for Justin Herbert this first week. We know what he is. We know what he's done. I'm not the only one who is projecting a career best year for Justin Herbert, but I am one of the people who is projecting a career best year. I think 35 touchdowns might be in play. Obviously, health is a concern, not with him, but just in general because of, the Chargers training room and training staff and their propensity to stab their own players in the lungs. But if they can keep themselves from doing that this year, we obviously have a situation with a loaded wide receiver room. They added Quentin Johnson to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, both of whom are completely healthy. They brought in a new offensive coordinator who tries to get the most out of his tight ends. He got a whole lot out of Dalton Schultz the last couple of years. Now he has Gerald Everett, a better tight end receiving prospect type of player, prototype, to get more done than does Dalton Schultz, who before he took over that job was just projected to be a blocking and inline tight end. Did so much more for the Cowboys. Now Kellen Moore going to bring that offensive system over to the Chargers, handling everything. So Herbert plugs in for week 1, and it's the highest totaled game on the slate. It's got a total of 50, closely contested. Chargers favored by 3 in this one, a 27 team total. Looking at who else is in that game, why he is so highly rated right now. High projection, really high ceiling. Tons of players that you can stack around him. Obviously, you're not going to get all of these players into a lineup, but like different price points all the way down to 4,300 at tight end, who I just spoke about. Kellen Moore's offense does a great job at involving tight ends. Easy to double stack Herbert. Easy to bring him back with either one of Hill or Waddle. If you wanted to get really spicy and bring it back with one of his running backs, I'm not sure I would go that route, but like it is possible with Devon A-Chain and everybody else in that situation. Great way to go. Justin Herbert is my number 1 for week 1. Lamar Jackson, another player who's in the MVP conversation this year. Not that he has to take a leap. He was already a league MVP, but they want to pass the ball more. They've wanted to for the last couple of years. Lamar Jackson's gotten injured, and funnily enough, injuries are not funny, but like he's not been injured in the way that people thought he would be injured. He's a running quarterback. He puts himself at more risk. And therefore, running quarterbacks can get hit more, and when they do get hit more, they're going to have a higher injury probability. He's gotten injured on pass plays, in the pocket, or scrambling a little bit from the ball, moving, trying to throw the ball is where Lamar Jackson got hurt the last couple of years. They added Odell Beckham Jr. They added Zay Flowers within the draft. They have a healthy Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews is back. They have Likely behind him. So many different ways that this offense can score. Also a 27 total, favored by 10. Now, if they get out to a lead and blow them out, it's possible Lamar Jackson doesn't throw as much in the second half of this game if it's not competitive. Obviously a possibility, but there's also tons of stacking options around, and we're not going to do it with the running backs. His wide receivers are not expensive. So even though Lamar is up at 8,000, you've got routes that you can go on Baltimore. There's also bring back plays. Obviously, Andrews is expensive for a tight end, but like the amount that you're spending on this stack is not as high as you would think, as opposed to using Lamar Jackson as a standalone. Couple things, we have to touch on this every year. Yes, I believe that you should be double stacking because we are playing in tournaments, specifically large field tournaments. If you're trying to win the Millionaire Maker, the Slant, or any of those tournaments, Mini Max, there's hundreds of thousands of people that you're playing against. You need the best possible outcome. If your quarterback, if you're going to say, because I know that this one's coming, Lamar Jackson can't sustain 2 pass catchers. Well, yes, he can, because on the days that he is going to score you a tournament winning score, 30, 35 DraftKings points, those are the days that he has like 290 to 400 passing yards with 3 or 4 touchdown passes. On those days, and those are the days that we're trying to capture, he most certainly can. He might also tack on a rushing touchdown. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, 60 yards rushing, 1 touchdown on the ground is a tournament-winning quarterback score, and that's going to correlate very well with his pass catchers. If you wanted to bring it back with anybody on Houston, you have Pierce, you have Woods, Singletary's the second running back in there. Nico Collins, some people think is going to take a league. Dalton Schultz, if you wanted to avoid Andrews and go with 2 of the wide receivers, you think he's going to tag down the field instead of over the middle. Obviously, Andrews has the higher floor, but all of these wide receivers are big play possibility guys and come in at a lower price where you can punt off tight end and get yourself a little bit of salary relief. Schultz down at 4,600 versus 6,200. Next quarterback is Geno Smith. Yes, they lost rookie JSN, but guess what? He's still got really good receivers and really good offense going up against the Rams, who aren't going to have a great defense this year. This is another high totaled game. Geno Smith's team total is 46. That would be really high. 26.5, favored by 4.5 points. Only 6,100 in this game. All this means is that the targets are going to be more consolidated. Without JSN, now you're looking at a situation where you can get Cooper Kupp into a lineup. You can play Lockett and Metcalf. It's going to be hard to make this work because you only got 4,300, but a cheap defense, a cheap tight end. There are value options at running back, and tomorrow we will get to my top 10 running backs and include some of those value plays at running back to make a super stack like this work. You're going to see less target diversity and something more like Geno Smith throwing 50% of his passes to Metcalf and Lockett. 25 in whatever way they want to chop that up for the first couple of weeks, as opposed to like 65% of the passes, including somebody like JSN, who is now hurt. Underwent wrist surgery. My son went through this offseason. It does take a little bit to get back post that surgery. So that would be the way that I would want to go with him. If you were looking to build these lineups using a lineup builder to make your time more efficient, I have used Fantasy Labs for like the last 8 or 9 seasons. It is my go-to. Every lineup builder, whatever you like, works best for you. Here are the 3 plans that they have. Go to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L if you wanted to check out the great products that they have over there. The 3 options they are offering us right now for our Smizz Gang community: an NFL only monthly plan. I think is the only way to get this for $40 a month if you just want to play NFL. 6 months access to all sports. It includes NFL, NBA when it comes back in a couple of months, MLB, golf, which runs year round. MLB still in the swing of things. NHL when it comes back, MMA, NASCAR, USFL, everything, and college football as well. You'll get access to all of those if you want to use a lineup builder for that, or the monthly all sports plan if you don't want to put down $300 all at once. This is your best value right here. It's basically this plan, but for less money per month because you're committing to 6 months. Go check out Fantasy Labs. It's the lineup builder that I use. It's the one that I prefer. I'm not saying it's the best lineup builder in the world. It's a tool, but it's the tool that I like to use to make my life a little bit more easy to build a whole lot of lineups when I'm building multiple lineups. Kirk Cousins is next on my list. Team total at 27, favored by 6.5 against Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be as bad as everybody. I mean, maybe they will. It could be. They're projecting to be like one of the worst 3 teams in the league. And maybe they will be. But like also, I know that there's a difference between Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield, but like this doesn't seem like a 2-win team to me. I think that they're going to be a little more competitive on a week-to-week basis because they have players who can score, difference makers on offense. They may be terrible on defense. They may lose a lot of games. But I think for fantasy, we don't care about that. We just want a team that's good enough on offense to score points and bad enough on defense to allow the opponent to score points. And that's what I kind of think that they are. I'm not saying they're a carnival yet, but they're a carnival potential sort of team. And now we have the Minnesota Vikings and the retooled receiving core that they have that I kind of like in this spot. Like you've got Madison if you wanted to go with him. Obviously, we have Justin Jefferson. Addison's only 5,100. At tight end, you've got Hawkinson, who is one of the most targeted tight ends after they brought him along. On the other side, as I mentioned, you still have a lot of viable options for bring back plays. Guys like Evans, guys like Godwin. We still have a running back in this spot. Rachaad White. We'll get to the running backs on that running back video, but a highly targeted player, which is perfect for DraftKings scoring. This is not a lineup that you're going to play. Obviously, this is not allowed within the DraftKings rules. But these are all the stacking options and bring back options that go along with Kirk Cousins, who's only 6,300 in week 1. Makes for a very positive play. He would need to do a lot more than some of the other quarterbacks. Guys like Herbert, who is not a pocket passer. He's more of a mobile quarterback, a pocket plus guy who can add a touchdown, maybe 25, 30 yards with his legs. Lamar Jackson, obviously a running quarterback who can do a lot with his arm and his legs. Kirk Cousins has to get you a 3-4 touchdown game with a 300-yard bonus. He can clearly do that. There's definitely paths for him to get there, and Tampa Bay can score enough points with all of those weapons to make him keep his foot on the gas. Russ Wilson, I know, don't throw tomatoes at your screen. I know, everybody's sick of Russ Wilson. Broncos country, let's ride. All the memes, all the jokes. But like, look, 5,900 in an offensive scheme that we know it's not going to be the circus that it was last year. Kind of like Jacksonville wasn't the circus in 2022 that it was in 2021 once got rid of Urban Meyer and got a little bit more continuity and stability. The Denver Broncos are going to not be the mess that they were under Hackett, which already that's a plus. We also have some great value plays to go along with him. Josh Jacobs is going to be a big value play in week 1. He's going to pop, but he's going to be in a weird price point at 7,700. I think all the expensive running backs are going to be down. P. Ryan's going to be more involved in the passing game. I think Javonte Williams is a great pass catcher. I don't know how involved he's going to be early in the season. I'm not totally against using P. Ryan. I probably wouldn't use him within a Russ Wilson stack, but I think he's going to be a viable play. On the other side, obviously, Devontae is great. Jerry Jeudy, we have to monitor the hamstring. If he's out, Cortland Sutton was already a good play at 5,200. But if Judy's out, then all of a sudden, we have like one of the best value plays overall on the slate. Marvin Mims Jr. at 3K. If he's already, Tim Patrick's injury has pushed him into the number 3 wide receiver spot, and he might profile as the number 2 if Judy's out immediately, which at 3K for a starting wide receiver, great. Can't do much better than that. Dulcich also fell in ADP during the preseason because people were saying that they were going to play Troutman over him. If you believe that, that's fine. But then a report came out from a beat writer that said they are looking, he is very involved in every practice with the first team. They're finding new and inventive ways to get him involved. As excited as everybody is about Kincaid in Buffalo, I kind of feel like Dulcich is very similarly used, or will be similarly used in Denver with Russ Wilson in an offense that is, we've seen tight ends do very well historically in Sean Payton's offense. Next is Joe Burrow. Joey B, 7,100. But a 25 team total in a closely contested game on the road. The easiest double stack, right, on the board with Chase and Higgins. There's also bring back options with Cooper, Njoku, and Moore, if I could find him again. At running back, Nick Chubb, also very solid. This is going to be a very popular double stack and bring back in week 1. Also could be very popular without Joe Burrow as just a secondary stack, picking 2 of these options. I think in the first look, way too early when I think we used Higgins and Cooper. You could go Chase and Moore. You could fill the tight end spot with Njoku on the way back. This is probably one of these 2, and this is probably my favorite combination, whether it's going to be Moore at wide receiver or whether it's going to be Njoku at tight end. I think are going to be the most popular ones because you get to fill the tight end with a value guy that you know has touchdown upside and gets enough of the target market share from Deshaun Watson to be viable. And if Burrow goes nuclear and has a 350-yard, 3-touchdown day, you know that Chase and or Higgins are also going to blow up. If you wanted cheaper options, you do have Irv Smith, and you do have Tyler Boyd. Jalen Hurts is a man that has won tournaments all by himself. We've seen the most ridiculous Super Bowl outcome from him. We saw multiple games of over 25 points, and this is what we need to highlight. Do I have to stack with Jalen Hurts? Because 26 completions, full PPR, remember, 333 yards. Yes, there was only 1 touchdown, 37 points. These are the games we want to isolate to. 30 points, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. Want to isolate to games like this, 4 touchdown passes, right? He's over 25 fantasy points. 27 fantasy points here, 26 completions, 239 yards, no touchdowns, ran for 2, but there's still enough meat on the bone. 25 points, 1 touchdown. This was a bad day to double stack, but all the rest worked. 32, 2 touchdowns, 153. 37, 3 touchdowns, 380. Starting to kind of get the point. So if you're using Jalen Hurts in a lineup, yes, I want to utilize 2 of his wide receivers with him in tournaments. In cash games, you can go naked quarterback all you want. It's going to be tough to get to him because of how pricey they made these wide receivers. Brown and Smith, 76, 72, along with 78. Go back and look at the difference between his wide receiver prices to stack versus Lamar's wide receivers to stack, and it gets tough. Goddard, 5K, plenty of bring back plays on the other side. Ramondre Stevenson. This game is a 2.5 point situation. Eagles favored by 2.5. If the Eagles play closer games, they're going to run the ball a lot less. They've got a cavalcade of running backs on this team, from Swift to Penny to Scott to Gainwell. They're all going to get work, all that sort of thing. But if they're in a games where they have to throw, where Jalen Hurts can't just throw it 25 to 30 times, like 25, 24. If he needs to, this is what we want. 35 plus attempts, 39, 37, 35, 36, 35. Those are the days when he's over 30 or 35 attempts. Even though attempts don't lead to quarterback scoring in fantasy, efficiency does. He's that efficient and has such amazing weapons around him that when he does throw the ball more, that efficiency just takes on a much larger number. So we want them in closer games, because if he has to open it up and they can't run it 35 plus times, Jalen Hurts' absolute nuclear upside gets unlocked. Anthony Richardson, now here's somebody you don't have to double stack with. And I've said this a million times. There are certain quarterbacks who don't profile to throw for a lot of passes. You just saw how many times Jalen Hurts threw it. 30 times, completed 25, 26 passes. Full PPR, that matters. I'm not expecting Anthony Richardson to throw the ball more than 24, 25 times a game. Like, ever. Similar to Justin Fields from last year, 21, 23, 21, 25, 21. Look at the completions. This is what can't sustain a double stack, when they don't throw it a ton. And I think that the same profile is coming for Anthony Richardson, where they're going to throw it 17 to 25 times. They're going to run it with their running backs. They're going to run it with him 8, 10, 12 times a game. They're going to try and get 35, 40. They're going to try and have slower games and be close and competitive. Maybe they can win it at the end. That doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback. At 5,600 and the rushing upside that he brings, if he throws for 2 touchdowns, I'm fine single stacking Richardson. You can bring him back. They play Jacksonville. This is a spot where with what they have, you can bring this back with ETN. You can bring this back with Ridley. I would lock one wide receiver to him, most likely Michael Pittman Jr., because RPO stuff does tend to be a single read. You're going to hand it off, you're going to run it, or you're going to throw it to the one guy that's essentially in a route. I'm not going to go much deeper than that with the tight ends. Pittman would be the guy that I would want to stack with him. You can double bring back this with Kirk or Jones. You could bring this back with Ingram as well. Find ways to get creative with this game, because this is going to be a situation where a lot of people are going to go to Anthony Richardson. But if Anthony Richardson has a 25 to 35 plus or 25 to 30 plus point game on DraftKings, one wide receiver is going to get there minimum. So definitely stack him. Cash games, I think he might be the optimal cash game play, or one of them. So you don't have to stack in cash. But if you're playing tournaments, Millie Maker, slant, 100-man games, you want to bring one wide receiver along with him, and you want to correlate with the other side as well. Same thing goes for Justin Fields. While I think they're going to throw the ball more, I don't think they're going to challenge as much as somebody like Jalen Hurts challenged last year. He just doesn't have the same amount of weapons. Love DJ Moore. I think the addition is going to help Justin Fields be more efficient. The big touchdown that he had in the preseason was a -2 air yard throw. They're still going to be a team that's based on running. They're going to try and defend. They're going to slow the game down. He might throw the ball more, hopefully 25 to 30 times a game. If he throws it 25 to 30 times a game, that means more completions. That means we could double stack him. To me, he's still a single stacking quarterback until they prove otherwise. And I mean they being the offensive play calling for the Bears. I don't see them throwing it 30 to 40 times a game with Justin Fields. Even in games that they're losing, they're still going to grind it out and try to keep it close until the end, because that's the way that this team profiles. They'll throw it more, not going to throw it a ton. And the other side, not going to play very fast either, with Jordan Love being his first year as a starter. Not sure I want to use definitely don't want to use a running back with Fields. I might use a running back on the other side to bring it back. DJ Moore would be the primary stacking option with him. You could also go with Kmet at 4,400 if you chose. Just needs one touchdown to basically score it. Musgrave is a big value get based on the amount of time he's going to play and the projectable 6+ targets, 5-6 targets for Musgrave at 2,900. Not probably going to double stack with Justin Fields. Here are his top two options. If you wanted to take a flyer on Claypool, whatever, confident with his hamstring he's going to play, it's probably going to be one of these two guys. If anybody has a big game because of the big playability that both Moore and Mooney have and bring along with him. The last quarterback that we have here is the other side of number one. We're going to bookend this with the Chargers and the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is outstanding. I love the way this offense runs with him in it. We saw them kind of explode a couple of times last year. 3-3-3, 6 this one. Hopefully the jiu-jitsu work that he did in the offseason can keep him from banging his head backwards into the ground. He's got to do more rolling. He's got to fall and just crumble to the ground instead of falling and slamming his head back into the turf. I wish him all the best. We're rooting for you, Tua. Please get after it, because the wide receiver room that you have with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is ridiculous, and we want to see them do fun things, because it also brings along guys like Keenan Allen and Eckler, and Eckler should be up here. And at wide receiver, at the flex, we've got Williams. You also have the possibility of Quentin Johnson at 4,400 if you think that he's going to get usage early in the season. I think that personally it's the big three that they have with Williams, Eckler, and Allen, with Everett getting some love around the goal line. This game could go nuclear. It's going to be extremely popular. I think that Tua is going to hold less people on him than Justin Herbert will. This might be the more contrarian way to stack this game, or full stack this game, going with a double stack, and a double bring back. It's going to be a popular route to go. I would suggest, if you're playing in smaller field stuff, to find a different way. In larger field stuff, find a way to get unique with your secondary stack. But those are the 10 quarterbacks that I've got as the top for week one. Thank you all for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.